Imagine practicing a single skill. Let's say, I don't know, the piano or maybe a new language every single day.
Right, like real dedication, no days off.
Exactly. No weekends off, no holidays. You just sit down and do the work. Now imagine doing that for 64 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and then realizing you haven't made a single inch of substantive progress since day one. Today, we're looking at a deeply unsettling cautionary tale, honestly, that forces us to question how we actually measure our own personal growth.
It is just a staggering amount of time to lose. I mean, to hand over the vast majority of your lifespan to a practice, completely trusting the process, only to realize that the fundamental machinery of that practice was just broken from the very beginning.
Totally.
We culturally default to this idea that time plus effort automatically equals mastery. But this source material we have today, it completely dismantles that equation.
It really does. And the source material we're doing a deep dive into today comes from a fascinating video transcript by Osman. He is widely known as the Blind Muslim Yogi. He's a master-level energy healer. He specializes in critical care recovery, and he's an incredibly advanced meditation and yoga teacher. And the story he shares about one particular student, it just completely flips the script on what it means to be dedicated.
It forces us to look at the cold, hard mechanics of spiritual and personal development. I mean, Osman just strips away that mystical, untouchable veneer of spiritual practice.
Yeah, the romanticized version of it.
Exactly. He demands that we look at it with the exact same rigorous expectation of tangible results that we'd apply to,
Yeah.
like any other discipline in our lives, whether that's physical fitness or learning a trade or building a business.
So the mission for this deep dive is to explore the massive crucial difference between merely being initiated by a master and actually using a systematic working protocol. We're going to examine why blind loyalty to a mentor can sometimes be the exact thing that's sabotaging your future.
Which is a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely. And maybe most importantly, we're going to look at how true personal growth is meant to fit seamlessly into your busy modern life rather than, forcing you to retreat to a mountaintop somewhere.
Right.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the story Osman tells to illustrate this point is just mind-boggling. It's about a student who lived out that exact scenario I mentioned at the start. 64 years of zero progress.
Yeah, so this student is almost 80 years old now. And her journey started way back when she was around 16.
Just a kid, really.
Just a kid. And at that young age, she was spiritually initiated by an incredibly powerful master. And Osman, he doesn't downplay this detail at all. He actually knows of this late master and confirms that the person's level of advancement and energetic power was exceptionally high.
Like beyond Osman's own level, right?
Miles beyond his own, in fact.
Yeah.
So she receives this profound initiation, just an enormous energetic head start.
She gets the absolute gold standard of a jump start. And it's not like she wastes it by being lazy. She stays incredibly dedicated. She practices throughout her entire life. But the daily practice she was actually given consisted of just 3 rounds of alternate nostril breathing.
Also known as pranayama.
Right, pranayama. And Osman explicitly describes her execution of this technique as below average and mediocre, which is where the logic just totally breaks down for me, honestly.
Oh, so?
Well, if you're initiated by someone with that much sheer, undeniable spiritual potency, shouldn't that raw power just carry you forward? I'm picturing it like getting a VIP all-access platinum membership to an elite Olympic weightlifting facility, right? Handed to you personally by a gold medalist.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
But then you walk into this incredible gym every single day, you do 3 incredibly lazy jumping jacks, and then you leave. You do that for over 6 decades, and you're baffled as to why you aren't getting stronger.
That analogy hits the nail on the head, honestly, because it separates the facility from the workout. What's fascinating here is the distinction Osman makes between the potency of a master and the absolute necessity of a protocol.
Right.
An initiation is just a spark. It's a transmission of raw potential. But potential is entirely useless if there's no structural mechanism to harness it, build it, and direct it.
So the initiation alone isn't a magic wand. Like, it doesn't just rewrite your internal biology or automatically grant you skills.
Not for everyone, no. Osman breaks this down scientifically, drawing on his observation of thousands of students across, I think, more than 100 countries.
That's a huge sample size.
Huge. And he notes that about 90% of people might be able to naturally adapt and elevate, just from the sheer power of a strong initiation. For them, a little touch of practice, even if it's imperfect, is enough. Their internal wiring is naturally grounded, so to speak.
Okay, but there's a remaining 10%.
Exactly. There's a remaining 10%.
Let me guess. For that 10%, the spark just fizzles out without the right kindling.
It's even more mechanical than that. Think of spiritual initiation like a massive surge of raw electricity. For that 90%, they can handle the surge, and the lights in the house just turn on.
Nice.
But for the remaining 10%, they need a transformer. They need a highly specific, step-by-step circuit board, which is the protocol, to safely route and utilize that energy. Otherwise, the energy just grounds out into the floor. They will feel absolutely nothing, no matter how powerful the master was.
That makes so much sense. You need the architecture. And Osman's protocols aren't just something he, improvised on the spot. They're rigorously based on ancient scriptures, like the Yoga Sutras, but constantly refined by decades of real-world, observable results.
Right.
You have to do the correct number of rounds, use the correct technique, follow a specific modality.
Without that structured circuitry, the energy just has nowhere to flow. You end up doing those mediocre jumping jacks, completely disconnected from the heavy machinery of the gym around you.
The truly tragic part of this whole story is that Osman actually met this woman 25 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He saw exactly what she was doing. He observed her stagnation firsthand, and he tried to warn her. He explicitly told her that the method she was following was just not going to get her very far.
But she didn't listen.
She refused to listen. She had a completely closed mind, insisting that she would only do exactly what her original, now late master had taught her. She was rigidly attached to the person who initiated her, totally ignoring her own undeniable lack of results.
It's very common, a very powerful psychological trap, actually. When we revere someone, especially a mentor, who introduced us to a profound new world, whether that's, in spirituality, business, or academia, we tend to conflate the messenger with the method.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, and to question the method feels like a deeply personal betrayal of the messenger.
Right, it becomes an issue of loyalty rather than an issue of efficacy. Plus, there has to be a massive sunk cost fallacy at play there.
Oh, absolutely.
If you've been doing something for 30 or 40 years, admitting the method is flawed means admitting you wasted a massive chunk of your life. It's probably just easier to blindly trust the dead master than to face the reality of your own stagnation.
And the tragic irony is that her loyalty became her blindfold. Taking good advice to improve your practice doesn't contradict what you were originally taught, it enhances it. The original master's intention certainly wasn't to leave her deficient.
Right, of course not.
As Osman suggests, the master likely just assumed she would fall into that 90% who didn't need a strict, rigid protocol. He gave her the tool, assuming she'd figure out how to use it.
But she didn't.
She didn't, and she isn't alone. Osman points out he had another student who wasted 50 years in the exact same kind of stagnant, unproductive loop.
Half a century gone. Just incredible. But there is an incredible turnaround to this specific story. Recently, this almost 80-year-old woman finally swallowed her pride and agreed to try Osman's protocol. Yeah, a systematic routine that only takes a few minutes a day. And on the very first day, she experienced unimaginable progress. She achieved a level of energetic movement she couldn't have even fathomed during those 64 years of stagnation.
The sheer relief she must have felt would be overwhelming. But alongside that relief, the crushing realization of all that lost time.
Which naturally brings us to the most practical question of this entire deep dive. How long should you actually wait to see if a practice, a habit, or a routine is working for you?
Right.
Because we are constantly told in our culture that good things take time, that mastery is a lifelong pursuit,
Osman provides a jarringly concrete metric for this. He has a very strict rule. You need to observe some substantive progress or positive feeling within a 2-week period, 14 days.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate here.
Go for it.
Because that sounds suspiciously like the instant gratification culture we usually criticize. Aren't we treating deep internal work like a fast food drive-through by demanding tangible results in 14 days?
It does sound like that at first.
Right, like if I decide to get in shape, go to the gym for 2 weeks and don't look like an action hero, I don't blame the weights, I blame my own impatience.
And that is exactly how most people justify years of stagnation. But we have to clarify what Osman means by results. He is not saying you will reach profound enlightenment, cure all your ailments, or achieve a state of nirvana in 14 days.
Okay, fair.
He's using that 2-week window strictly as a diagnostic tool.
But wait, how do you differentiate between a protocol that genuinely isn't working and a student who is just impatient or maybe executing the technique poorly? Going back to my gym analogy, isn't it possible the person just hasn't put in enough reps to see the muscle grow?
Because you aren't looking for the final outcome, you're looking for signs of life.
Yeah.
Think of it like troubleshooting a car engine.
Okay.
You don't need to drive the car for 1,000 miles to know if the ignition is fixed. You tune in the key. If the engine doesn't even sputter, click, or turn over in the first 10 seconds, you don't sit in the driveway for a year waiting for a miracle.
Yeah, you get back under the hood immediately?
Exactly. The 2-week mark is just turning the key.
Ah, I see. You are checking to see if the machinery is actually drawing power.
Precisely. You are looking for diagnostic markers. Does your body start feeling unusually energized? Do your persistent weaknesses feel a bit lighter? Does your mind feel a subtle shift in how it reacts to stress?
So just small indicators.
Small, undeniable shifts. If you experience those, it means the circuitry is connected. The protocol is working. You keep going.
Hmm.
But if you feel absolutely nothing, if your baseline remains entirely unchanged, Osman insists something needs to change immediately. You do not sit there for another year, let alone another decade, hoping it will magically click.
Osman gives a brilliant, real-world example of this diagnostic test with another student, actually, a 28-year-old busy professional.
Right, I remember this one.
Yeah, this guy is living a modern life. He does not have time to sit on a cushion for 3 hours a day chanting. Osman starts him on a highly targeted protocol that takes just 5 minutes a day, and within that strict 2-week window, the guy didn't levitate. He didn't transcend time and space.
Of course not.
But he started feeling a tangible, undeniable energy developing in his forehead region. He felt a deep sense of comfort. He experienced a noticeable positive shift in his physical baseline.
And the ripple effect of that early result is what matters most. Because he actually felt something real and beneficial, he naturally wanted to increase his practice. He willingly bumped it up to 15 or 20 minutes a day.
Yeah, it wasn't forced white-knuckle discipline.
Exactly. It was a natural magnetic pull toward a tool that was clearly improving his daily life, his focus at work, and his overall health. And it didn't require him to blow up his busy schedule.
When you hear about a 28-year-old professional getting tangible results in just 5 minutes a day, it really shatters the cultural image we usually have in our heads. We almost always picture spiritual masters or advanced energy healers as like isolated monks living in a cave in the Himalayas,
Yeah.
completely detached from the messy, stressful reality of modern life.
It's a pervasive stereotype. But Osman's personal reality could not be further from that image, and his background is actually the secret to why his protocols are so remarkably effective for regular busy people.
He's incredibly transparent about his life.
Very. I mean, yes, he has attained highly advanced states like samadhi and enlightenment. In the past, he engaged in intensely grueling practices, meditating for 16 to 18 hours a day.
Wow.
But that is not his current reality, and he explicitly does not ask that of his students.
His current reality is intensely relatable and honestly pretty gritty. For starters, he is permanently blind. Yet despite that, he has been a self-supporting entrepreneur running his own businesses for 29 years.
That's just incredible on its own.
And he has a family. He is currently raising 2 minor children at home. He points out with a great sense of pride that he participates heavily in the economic sector, makes ends meet, and pays his taxes. When was the last time you heard a spiritual master proudly flex that they file their tax returns on time?
Right. It is incredibly grounding. He explicitly states, I am not living as a monk or a recluse. He is deeply embedded in society, and his past is equally rooted in the common struggles of everyday people. He speaks with profound candor about having been deeply addicted to alcohol and cigarettes.
That level of vulnerability is so rare. He admits that his addiction was so intense and he loved those vices so much that he was genuinely terrified to ever try any hard drugs. He knew his own brain chemistry well enough to realize that if he ever touched narcotics, he would never be able to escape them.
Yeah, it's wild to hear someone at his level of advancement say, I really, really loved my vices.
It is. But he did the work and managed to quit those addictions 18 or 19 years ago.
Which brings up a vital point about the architecture of his teachings. Why does his gritty background matter so much to the efficacy of a 5-minute meditation protocol?
Why do you think?
It matters because his system was forged in the fire of real life. It wasn't designed in a vacuum of infinite free time. It was designed by someone who knows exactly what it feels like to battle chemical hooks, to manage the stress of running a business, and to deal with the chaos of raising children.
And dealing with serious health constraints, too. Osman manages a neuropathy condition, which forces him to be incredibly disciplined with his physical health. He mentions that he follows a whole foods plant-based diet that leans keto.
Oh, wow, that's strict.
Yeah, from a nutritional standpoint, plant-based keto is incredibly difficult to maintain, but he does it because his specific physical condition requires it.
But notice how he talks about that diet. In an era where dietary tribalism is rampant, where people treat their diet like a religion, Osman remains completely objective.
I love that part. He is completely impartial. He explicitly tells his audience that if you follow an omnivore diet or even a strict carnivore diet, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Which you almost never hear.
Right. He openly acknowledges that those diets have rigorous scientific backing, supported by reputed institutions and PhD-level researchers. He holds zero negativity or judgment toward different dietary paths. He just focuses relentlessly on what actually works for the individual.
That impartiality is the hallmark of a true empiricist. He applies the exact same logic to human nutrition as he does to spiritual protocols. Find what works, observe the measurable results, and refuse to get trapped by rigid, dogmatic thinking.
Yeah.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Osman's core philosophy becomes crystal clear. True spiritual growth or any form of deep personal development is never about escaping society. It's about becoming a stronger, more capable, more resilient participant in the economic and social fabric of the world.
When you look at the whole picture of a blind entrepreneur who spent years battling severe addiction, who runs businesses, raises kids, manages neuropathy, and still finds time to do his taxes, suddenly the excuse of, I don't have time to work on myself, sounds pretty hollow.
That's a bit, yeah.
If he can engineer a system to fit into that level of daily chaos, you can definitely find 5 or 10 minutes before your morning commute. The friction of everyday life isn't an excuse to avoid the work. The work is designed to help you handle that exact friction.
Precisely. The system is designed to inject clarity and energy into your current reality, not to demand that you abandon your reality to go live in a monastery.
So, what does this all mean for you as you step back into your own busy schedule today? Let's distill the really crucial takeaways from Osman's experiences and the cautionary tales of his students.
Okay, I do.
First, never confuse a powerful teacher or a great initiation with a working protocol. A charismatic mentor or a burst of inspiration can give you the spark, but you need a systematic, structurally sound method to actually build the circuitry and keep the lights on.
Second, you must demand to see substantive progress. Employ the 2-week litmus test in your own life. Don't fall for the romanticized trap that personal growth must always be an invisible, lifelong slog with no milestones.
Right, turn the key.
Turn the key. If you are starting a new habit, a new routine, or a new practice, you should be able to hear the engine start. You should feel a positive shift, a subtle change in your baseline energy, or a new mental clarity within 14 days. If you don't, have the courage and the objectivity to change the protocol.
And finally, ensure that your practices actually enhance your real modern life. True growth shouldn't isolate you. It shouldn't make you less functional or more detached from your responsibilities. It should make you sharper, more grounded, and vastly more capable of handling the beautiful chaos of your everyday life.
Which brings us to a final thought I want to leave you with. We started this deep dive by looking at the tragedy of an 80-year-old student who allowed her unwavering loyalty to a late master to cost her 64 years of her life.
Just brutal.
She woke up every single day, went to the metaphorical gym, did her 3 mediocre jumping jacks, and stayed entirely stagnant. She did this simply because she refused to look objectively at her own lack of results.
The ultimate cautionary tale of wasted potential.
It truly is. So I want you to look closely at your own life right now. Look at your career trajectory, your daily habits, your deeply held beliefs, or the routines you perform every single morning.
What should they be looking for?
Ask yourself, are you holding on to an outdated method or perhaps a past mentor out of sheer blind loyalty? And is it possible that this very loyalty, this stubborn refusal to update your protocol when the results are nowhere to be found, is the exact thing sabotaging your future progress?